Savitri, page 59, Book 1, the Book of Beginnings, Canto 4, the Secret Knowledge. Alive in a dead, rotating universe, we whirl not here upon a casual globe, abandoned to a task beyond our force. Even through the tangled anarchy called fate, and through the bitterness of death and fall, an outstretched hand is felt upon our lives. So we see this whirl, this spinning of this universe. He calls it a casual globe. It's very interesting word. But it's not meant in that way. In other words, we are not whirling here on a casual globe, and we are not abandoned to a task that is beyond our force. And then we have a semicolon. And Sri Aurobindo says that even through this tangled anarchy called fate, and through the bitterness of death and fall, an outstretched hand is felt upon our lives. It is so comforting, so uplifting, that all that we have to go through, this bitterness of death and fall, because when we are born, we already begin to die. And even through this fate, this outstretched hand is felt upon our lives. Does anyone have the lexicon so that we could hear Sri Aurobindo's definition of fate? Anyone at all?
Sri Aurobindo. The Indian explanation of fate is karma. We ourselves are our own fate through our actions, but the fate created by us binds us. For what we have sown, we must reap in this life or another. Still, we are creating our fate for the future, even while undergoing old fate from the past in the present. That gives us a meaning to our will and action, and does not, as European critics wrongly believe, constitute a rigid and sterilizing fatalism. But again, our will and action can often annul or modify even the past karma. It is only certain strong effects called utkata karma that are not non-modifiable. Here too, the achievement of the spiritual consciousness in life is supposed to annul or give the power to annul karma. For we enter into union with the will divine, cosmic or transcendent, which annul what it had sanctioned for certain conditions, new create what it had created, the narrow fixed lines disappear, there is a more plastic freedom and wideness. Neither karma nor astrology, therefore, points to a rigid and forever immutable fate. Letters on Yoga. Fate is God's foreknowledge outside space and time of all that in space and time shall yet happen. What He has foreseen, power and necessity work out by the conflict of forces, essays divine and human. This is the great truth now dawning on the world, that will is the thing which moves the world, and that fate is merely a process by which will fulfills itself. Essays in Philosophy and Yoga.
Vladimir, have you come across Utkata karma?
Well, It means actually unchangeable, very hard, utkata, a hard karma. That's some kind of hardcore thing, yeah, which you cannot change. For example, like the age of the sun or the planet. These are things unchangeable. The rest is flexible, so things can change, but there's something which may be called unchangeable, yeah, in the karma. And that is not easily.
How does it apply to humanity?
I do not know about that. I think everyone has an element which must be there. It's like something like you remember the story of these two gentlemen who assassinated Gandhi, yeah. And they were both executed, but one of them had, according to one of them was Jyotishi. He said, "You will never die, according to your how to say Jyotishi, the chart. You will die from heart attack. You will not die from execution." Shabinda mentions this somewhere in the evening talks. And what happened after they were executed, they were hanged, the examination of their bodies told that one of them died from the heart attack in the moment when he was hanged. So here we are. So you have it. So utkata karma is there. So whatever you do, you will die from heart attack. So something of the kind, you know. How it is adjusted to the flow of events, it's another matter.
Yes. And it's very interesting that Sri Aurobindo says that if you say no to your fate in some area and the Lord says you have to go through it, he puts a check mark in your column, in your positive column. I thought that was very interesting. And probably that's also utkata karma, that you have to go through it, but the Lord is lenient and gives you a check mark.
By the way, the whole Savitri is against this utkata karma, which she changes by her unchanging will. That's the whole story, yeah? Which is unheard of, which is, you will not find it anywhere in Indian literature, or Mahabharata, or Ramayana, anywhere, that prediction of this kind, that as it is predicted in Savitri of Mahabharata, Narad says, and nothing you can do about it. That means it's utkata karma. Yeah? He will die in 1 year, nothing you can do about it. That's it. You don't have to think, you don't have to try, it will not happen your way. Yeah? And still, she goes through it and she changes it. This is something you don't find anywhere.
Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we see that will is really the thing that moves the world. And fate is only a process through which will fulfills itself. It's a very beautiful statement. Essays in Philosophy and Yoga was written, what, turn of the century?
Mm.
I believe, huh? Early 1900s?
Mm.
Yeah. So we'll carry on and we'll see what he says further about this. It is near us in unnumbered bodies and births. In its unslackening grasp, it keeps for us safe the one inevitable supreme result no will can take away and no doom change, the crown of conscious immortality. The Godhead promised to our struggling souls when first man's heart dared death and suffered life. I feel that suffered here is more in the sense of allowed life, where Christ says, "Suffer the little children to come to me, allow them to come to me." So we have dared death and we have allowed life. We can also say that we have suffered life, no doubt. Uh, Varsha, could you read immortality for us?
Yes. Immortality. Sri Aurobindo. By immortality, we mean the absolute life of the soul as opposed to the transient and mutable life in the body which it assumes by birth and death and rebirth, and superior also to its life as the mere mental being who dwells in the world subjected helplessly to this law of death and birth, or seems at least by his ignorance to be subjected to this or to other laws of the lower nature, the Upanishads. Immortality is not the survival of the mental personality after death, though that also is true, but the waking possession of the unborn and deathless self, of which body is only an instrument and a shadow, essays divine and human. Immortality, in its fundamental sense, does not mean merely some kind of personal survival of the bodily death. We are immortal by the eternity of our self existence without beginning or end, beyond the whole succession of physical births and deaths through which we pass, beyond the alternations of our existence in this and other worlds. The Spirit's timeless existence is the true immortality, the life divine. Immortality is one of the possible results of supramentalization, but it is not an obligatory result, and it does not mean that there will be an eternal or indefinite prolongation of life as it is. This is what we may think it will be, that they will remain what they
This is
are.
what many think it will be.
Sorry. This is what many think it will be, that they will remain what they are with all their human desires, and the only difference will be that they will satisfy them endlessly. But such an immortality would not be worth having, and it would not be long before people are tired of it. To live in the divine and have the divine consciousness is itself immortality, and to be able to divinize the body also and make it a fit instrument for divine works and divine life would be its material expression only. Letters on Yoga.
The mother speaks a lot about this in when she speaks about the supramental birth, the boat, and the people who are fully orange, and others who have to go back and probably take more births to become supramentalized. This is an important aspect of which Sri Aurobindo is telling us, that why would we want to live in the same body with the same consciousness and the same flaws, the same habits, same desires? That is not what supramentalization will be. And he's very clear here. So please continue, Marsha.
As for immortality, it cannot come if there is attachment to the body. For it is only by living in the immortal part of oneself, which is unidentified with the body, and bringing down its consciousness and force into the cells, that it can come. I speak, of course, of yogic means. The scientists now hold that it is, theoretically at least, possible to discover physical means by which death can be overcome. But that would mean only a prolongation of the present consciousness in the present body. Unless there is a change of consciousness and change of functionings, it would be a very small gain. Letters on Yoga. The Mother. Immortality is not a goal, It is not even a means. It will proceed naturally from the fact of living the truth. Words of the Mother, Mother's Collected Works, Volume 15.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Vladimir, like to comment?
Well, yes. I was thinking also about this immortality for the future, or this transition on what will happen to this species, human species, and this boat, what you mentioned, that some of them are half orange, others are fully, and others are not even coming close. So you would see different types of beings which are joining this new stage in evolution, who overgrew the necessity, the means of this species, human species. Yes, we need more than this form can give. We need bigger heart, bigger mind, bigger capacity of the body, which means we are going beyond animal life. And for these beings, of course, there will be a force responding and charging their beings, their mental, vital, physical beings will be responding and tuning to this truth of supramental. And by that, nature builds other species, builds other bodies, allows other bodies to grow. New species are born. It's like we are shifting to new species, yes? But it doesn't mean that human beings will disappear. They will stay as animal state, as elephants stayed, and crocodiles and fish. And so they may stay in their own human level of semi-god, semi-beast, as Sri Aurobindo says, and continue to be what they are. And only one type of species, like monkeys. Monkeys are still here, so no problem. There will be human beings and there will be some superhuman beings. Some other species nature will create. It doesn't mean that everybody has to go there. All the monkeys have to become human beings. Doesn't mean that.
Yes, correct. And of course, Mother says also that very, very few of the billions of people on this earth are even aware of their psychic being. So when there was this great earthquake in Peru, I believe, 70,000 people at once were killed. And a disciple asked Mother, weren't some of them at least aware of their psychic being? And Mother said, there are so few aware. So,
yeah, by the way, the same she speaks about Africa, if you remember. Yeah? She says that she's worried about Africa, worried not from any other point of view, but this psychic being development. She sees that there is some kind of refusal of the development or the progress, and that refusal became the stage in which they started to degrade and to come down to the animal life, because once you don't progress, you regress. So she's afraid that this kind of black hole, as she says, it looks like black, it is not responding to the light, and once the light presses on Earth, there will be more degradation than progress. So those who respond to this light, they will go up. Those who resist it will go down, as it were. So there will be a disaster for many people who deny the change. So this is the discussion. By the way, similar to Rurik in his Agni Yoga speaks about having light within your soul, the fire, to lit the fire, which will meet the sun and the fire. We have to have the sun within us to meet the sun coming from above. Yeah? So if you don't have this lit fire, then the sun comes and burns us down.
Yes. Well, I will go through a few more lines and then we'll break for today. One who has shaped this world is ever its Lord. Our errors are his steps upon the way. He works through the fierce vicissitudes of our lives. He works through the hard breath of battle and toil. He works through our sins and sorrows and our tears. His knowledge overrules our nescience. Whatever the appearance we must bear, whatever our strong ills and present fate, when nothing we can see but drift and bail, a mighty guidance leads us still through all. Namaste. Thank you. And thank you, Vladimir.